What if I told you there's a secret facility in New York, hidden beneath an old Air Force radar tower, where the US government allegedly conducted mind control experiments, developed time travel technology, and even opened portals to other dimensions? Sounds like science fiction, right? A plot ripped straight out of Stranger Things? Well, that's because it is, in part. But before the Netflix series, before the pop culture buzz, there were real people, real allegations, and real declassified documents that pointed to something much stranger happening at Montauk Air Force Station. Welcome to the story of the Montauk Project, a tangled web of Cold War paranoia, alleged human experimentation, electromagnetic weaponry, and claims so bizarre they challenge the limits of belief. In this video, we'll uncover the roots of the conspiracy, the supposed connection to the Philadelphia experiment, testimonies from whistleblowers, and the surprising amount of real government activity that fuels the fire. Whether you walk away thinking it's all fantasy or something more, one thing's for sure: you'll never look at that rusting radar dish on Long Island the same way again. The Montauk Project conspiracy theory finds its roots in another infamous mystery, the Philadelphia experiment of 1943. According to urban legend, the U.S. Navy attempted to render the USS Eldridge invisible using electromagnetic fields, but instead of simple cloaking, the experiment allegedly resulted in the ship teleporting, some crew members fusing into the metal, and others going insane. This event was never proven, but decades later, a man named Preston Nichols claimed the Philadelphia experiment didn't end there. According to Nichols, the research continued, not in Philadelphia, but at Camp Hero, part of Montauk Air Force Station, on the eastern tip of Long Island. Montauk, once used during World War II and the Cold War to detect enemy aircraft, was decommissioned in 1969. But Nichols alleged the base remained secretly active. The radar tower was just a cover for something deeper underground, a classified laboratory experimenting with psychic phenomena, time manipulation, mind control, and more. Nichols claimed he worked on these experiments, specifically focusing on psychotronics, the use of electromagnetic frequencies to manipulate the human mind. And he wasn't alone. Others, like Bielek and Duncan Cameron, also came forward with bizarre, detailed testimonies, all pointing to Montauk as the center of a dark chapter in U.S. experimentation. To understand the legend, we first have to understand the setting. Camp Hero, a 278-acre military installation in Montauk, was originally built during World War II. Its massive radar tower, the ANFPS-35, still stands today. While officially shut down in 1981, locals began to notice strange activity continued well into the late 80s. Residents reported bizarre power surges, odd humming noises, and sudden animal disappearances. Some claimed to see military vehicles entering the fenced-off areas at night, long after the base was declared inactive. But what made Montauk truly notorious were the alleged underground facilities. Nichols claimed there was a vast subterranean complex beneath the radar tower, where experiments on telepathy, mind control, and even time portals were conducted. He said abducted homeless people and runaway children were used as test subjects, many of whom were never seen again. He also spoke of a powerful transmitter that could project thoughts into people's minds or erase memories entirely. According to Nichols, they created a Montauk chair, a mind-reading device linked to a psychic, Duncan Cameron, who could manifest objects or alter time itself based on what he visualized. Sounds insane? Perhaps. But here's where it gets murky. In 1992, the Department of Energy admitted that the U.S. had conducted classified human radiation experiments on civilians during the Cold War without their knowledge or consent. And while nothing about Montauk was confirmed, declassified records proved the U.S. government did fund psychological warfare programs, such as MKUltra, that included experiments with LSD, sensory deprivation, and mind manipulation. Suddenly, the idea of a secret project at Montauk didn't seem entirely impossible. At the center of the Montauk narrative are the men who claim to have been involved. Preston Nichols, an electrical engineer, is often seen as the project's most vocal whistleblower. In his book The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time, Nichols says he uncovered suppressed memories of working on the project after noticing bizarre mental blocks and time lapses in his personal life. He recalled being recruited to refine mind control technology, using radio waves and psychic amplification. According to him, tests were conducted on gifted children, primarily males between ages 10 to 16, selected for their psychic sensitivity. Then came Bielek, a man who claimed to be one of the original crew aboard the USS Eldridge during the Philadelphia experiment. Bielek stated that after the teleportation event, he was recruited by the government to work on advanced time travel at Montauk. He alleged that after traveling through time, sometimes centuries into the future, his memories were erased, only to resurface years later. Finally, Duncan Cameron, supposedly the brother of Bielek and a psychic prodigy, was said to be the centerpiece of the project. Nichols claimed Cameron could manifest physical objects through thought, and at one point, created a monstrous beast from his subconscious, dubbed the Montauk Monster, which allegedly destroyed parts of the base before the entire underground program was abruptly shut down in August 1983. Of course, many critics argue that these testimonies are fabricated or the result of false memories, possibly induced by psychological trauma or suggestive hypnosis. But one thing is certain, these men never sought anonymity. They gave public interviews, held conferences, and subjected themselves to public ridicule. If it was all fiction, it was a commitment of bizarre proportions. Before dismissing Montauk outright, it's worth remembering that the U.S. government has a long and well-documented history of strange experimentation. Project MK-Ultra, officially launched by the CIA in 1953, aimed to explore mind control, brainwashing, and interrogation techniques. Over 150 experiments were conducted using LSD, hypnosis, isolation, and sensory deprivation, often on unwitting subjects. Declassified documents revealed that MK-Ultra targeted not just prisoners and mental patients, but even university students and hospital patients, none of whom gave informed consent. In one experiment, a man was dosed with LSD for 77 days straight. Others were subjected to depatterning, a brutal process to erase and rebuild personalities. Even after the program was exposed in the 1970s, many details remained hidden. CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all MK-Ultra files destroyed in 1973, meaning we may never know the full extent of what was done. Another real project, Project Artichoke, explored whether a person could be hypnotized to commit assassination against their will. That's right, literal mind-controlled killers. So, when someone claims that Montauk was about mind control and psychic warfare, is it really that far-fetched? The government has confirmed far more disturbing activities in the name of national security. In the 2 years, interest in Montauk spiked again, this time thanks to pop culture. The creators of Stranger Things originally titled their hit series Montauk, which was directly inspired by the Montauk Project. Many plot elements, including psychic children, government labs, and portals to other worlds, were lifted straight from Nichols' claims. Today, Camp Hero is a state park. You can visit it, hike the trails, and even stand beneath the massive radar tower. But parts remain off limits, and rumors persist that sealed entrances and underground chambers still exist, hidden just out of public reach. Investigators have tried to dig deeper, literally, but so far, no physical proof of a vast underground lab has been uncovered. So what are we to make of all this? Is the Montauk Project a fabricated myth born from paranoia and Cold War fear? Or is it a glimpse into a classified chapter of history still buried beneath layers of secrecy? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. In the end, the Montauk Project forces us to ask big questions. How much of what we know about government research is actually true? How far were intelligence agencies willing to go? And how much remains hidden? Maybe Preston Nichols and his colleagues were delusional. Or maybe, just maybe, they were trying to reveal something we weren't supposed to know. After all, history has shown us that governments often dismiss true stories as conspiracy theories, until years later, when declassified documents confirm the unthinkable. So, what do you think? Is the Montauk Project just Cold War fantasy? Or could it have been a real experiment buried under decades of denial and secrecy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to Declassified Order, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next dive into the darkest corners of history. Because sometimes, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction. It is fiction, written by those in power.